Hello, my name is Brett Cotton. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Arda Biomaterials. And at Arda, we're a new kind of chemistry technology company transforming biomass into animal-free and plastic-free materials. Now, today's materials have a huge plastic problem. Everything from packaging and fibers, plastic leather, coated canvas, dyes, adhesives are all loaded with petrochemicals. But the world wasn't always this way. Humanity once had to look to the natural world around us. And for example, here pictured is Henry Ford wearing a suit derived from soybean protein fibers. So what if there was a time, or a way to go back in time before plastics, using modern-day chemistry and material science, without giving up the price, the scale, the performance, and hitting those sustainability metrics that we're all after? At Arda, we're accomplishing this by using plant proteins to mimic animal proteins and replace plastics. We begin with the biomass. We take those proteins out, which are all raveled up, and we begin unraveling them and restructuring them into collagen-like architectures, collagen being the main protein in skin. And this also allows us to replace plastic completely. So where can we find a great source of plant-based proteins? Turns out that brewers are experts in extracting sugar from grain, leaving behind a protein-rich biomass called brewer spent grain. We can take brewer spent grain, stick it into the same big metal vats a brewers use to extract sugar, and we can extract the proteins instead. We end up with a liquid, like a protein soup, and it's that liquid that has all these tiny molecular protein fibers inside. We can then put that liquid into the same machinery that would be used to create plastic films or plastic leathers, except there's no plastic involved at all. Our first innovation we call New Grain. It's a completely new material. It's 97% less CO2 emissions than animal-based and 82% less than plastic. In fact, it's the closest thing you could get to a vegetable-tanned animal skin because it's made of protein that just comes from plants instead. Now, we wanted to see, could we make New Grain with AB InBev spent grain? So we looked at Budweiser, which is made of barley and rice, Stella Artois, which is made of barley and maize, and Camden Town, which is made of good old barley. Now, we began with a trip up to the north of London, to Camden Town, had a lovely visit, got some grain, and then some of the team kindly went over to one of ABI's mega facilities in the UK called Magor Brewery and picked up Stella Artois and Budweiser. We processed them in our facility, which is a half-hour down the road, and turn them into beautiful prototypes, which you can see at our booth downstairs. Card holders, a tennis racket sleeve. We saw Stella Artois does a lot with Wimbledon, bag. The possibilities are really endless. But we also want to see how this could work at scale. So if you worked with a size of facility like Camden Town Brewery in the north of London, you could make about 250,000 meters of material. This could support a handful of fashion brands and generate about $10 million of annual revenue through material sales. If you scale that up to a really big mega site like Magor, you can make almost 6 million meters of material, which could service over many dozens of fashion brands, automotive, footwear, and generate over 100 million in annual revenue from material sales. Now, that's just from one site. AB InBev has facilities all around the world, which could be used to empower some of the world's largest global brands in fashion, footwear, sports, automotive, hospitality, and more. And New Grain is just the beginning of replacing animals and plastic in our supply chain. We can do packaging. We've been able to spin barley proteins into fibers like Spider-Man, and adhesives and more are all possible. We can do this with spent grain, with nut waste, rice, maize, and much more. We've got the team to do this at Arda. We have 7 PhDs now on the team. They're brilliant, trained at some of the world's top universities, and with experience at some very relevant large brands as well as startups. Earlier this year, we raised our seed round, $5 million round, which allowed us to build a new facility in Bermondsey by Tower Bridge, which is the craft brewing hub of London. And later next year, about this time, we'll go out and raise our next round, which will be to build our first standalone production facility. In the interim, we're looking for pilot partners and joint development partners across fashion, automotive, footwear, to really commercialize the material. I'll leave you with the thought that Arda is a chemistry technology company for the 21st century, and through Arda's tech, brewers like AB InBev truly hold the key to decarbonizing the materials on your feet, in your homes, in your cars, in your bags, all without using animals or plastic. Thank you.